Jean-Boniface Assélé, born on February 9, 1939, is a Gabonese politician and chairman of the Cercle des Libéraux Réformateurs (CLR). He was a member of the Gabonese government from 1975 to 1990 and again from 2004 to 2009. He was also Commander-in-Chief of the National Police Force from 1970 to 1989 with the rank of General. Since September 2009, Assélé has been the fourth vice president of the Gabonese Senate. There is a lot of wisdom here, and I would like to take off my hat off to the military, the gendarmes, the police, and others who came together to restore order. On March 18, 2025, the Cercle des Libéraux Réformateurs, led by Jean-Boniface, held its extraordinary congress with the sole agenda of supporting the candidacy of Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema in the presidential election on April 12, 2025. He underlined the reasons for his support, which are linked to the work highlighted by the action taken by the president of the transition, Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema, in favor of the people. Firstly, young people with the reinstatement of school grants, the exceptional reason of the age requirement to sit certain competitive examinations, and the provision of taxi vehicles for young Gabonese. Given the transition time, it is not a matter of 2 days or 4 days. It could even exceed 3 years, maybe more, but the people are above all that. The people will decide by referendum. However, the founding president of the CLR points out that the party is not just a declaration of support, but hopes to see any project undertaken by the transitional president, Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema, come to fruition. An electrifying atmosphere prevailed on April 10, 2025 at Jean-Paul II Avenue Square in Libreville, the capital, for the closing meeting of the electoral campaign for the presidential election on April 12. Responding to the invitation of candidate Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema, more than 8,000 people, men, women, and young people, representing all social strata of the Estoile province, showed their support for the vision of General Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema, candidate in the presidential election on April 12, 2025. 2 weeks in the field enabled the candidate of hope to visit all 9 provinces of Gabon, a single message to restore Gabon to its former glory. Democracy will no longer be a distant promise, but a living reality. In the Fifth Republic, decentralization and the free administration of local authorities will be effective. In the Fifth Republic, governance will be efficient, and corruption will have no place. Put an end to corruption, no more corruption.
Abat la corruption! Fini la corruption!
Mobilized as one, the people who took their seat in this mythical place for Gabon did not fail to thank Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema for what he has been able to achieve in just 19 months of transition. The people are hoping for a better future, hope for job creation, a daily life without load shedding, the opening of schools, better health systems, and improvement to the road network. In a message full of hope, candidate Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema calls on all the people of Gabon to carry him to the Supreme Magistracy on the evening of April 12, 2025 by going out to vote and making the choice for a new Gabon. Dear Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema, look around you. Look around the tens of thousands of women and men. Look around the young people mobilized and rally around you and the project you are carrying. Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema's program is based on 6 strategic axes, ranking from the reform of basic services to economic diversification, the fight against unemployment, and the modernization of institutions. Almost 850,000 Gabonese voters are due to go to the polls this Saturday, April 12, 2025. The presidential election should fulfill the promise of the return to constitutional order in Gabon. In 2024, Gabon's export reached 6,800 billion francs FE, up 3.1% on 2023. Import, meanwhile, rose by 2.5% to 4,350 billion francs CFA according to the World Bank. These figures testify to an overall stable economy with prospects to be consolidated through economic diversification, support for local trade, and access to financing. We have set up a process that will involve, for example, offering these women a modern card and as such a reform that can only be carried out in a multi-sectoral way, that is, by the Ministry of the Economy, the Ministry of Trade and the Ministry of Budget, so that as states, we propose mechanisms to ensure social security for these people. However, despite this progress and the positive outlook, challenges remain. Gabon's economy remains heavily dependent on exports of raw materials. In 2024, exports of goods, mainly oil, timber, and manganese, rose by 3.4% according to the World Bank figures. This performance still marks the fragility of the local commercial fabric, particularly in rural areas. One of the big challenges is the legal framework. To regulate the sector, we need tools that give us the power to act at that level. For example, at the Ministry of Trade, we recently defended the law regulating commercial activity in the Gabonese Republic. The medium-term outlook remains promising. Increasing digitalization, special economic zone projects, and the implementation of structural reforms could make trade a key vector for economic diversification in Gabon. Gabon, a country in Central Africa, has remarkable demographic potential, but also major challenges that require appropriate policies to take full advantage of them. Half of Gabon's population is under the age of 20, a strategic asset for long-term development. This age pyramid indicates a large pool of young, dynamic labor capable of stimulating economic growth and innovation and supporting the demographic transition. Gabon's population has grown in number and quality in recent years, but with 5 inhabitants per square kilometers, we can see that demography is Gabon's strong point, but Gabon's advantage is that its population is young, and a young population is a population of working age. With an estimated population of around 2.3 million in 2023, Gabon is experiencing moderate demographic growth, which could lead to more stable economic development, provided that infrastructure and public services keep pace with this dynamic. The growing number of young people is an opportunity for the country to create a skilled and qualified workforce. Youth employment, which is particularly high, remains one of Gabon's major challenges. Because Gabon is well irrigated, Gabon is well watered by a rich and diversified forest, we just need an agricultural grace to develop sustainable jobs in a fairly responsible way, and the sector on which we can base this is the agricultural sector. Gabon has considerable demographic potential, thanks to its young and growing population, but it needs to overcome a number of challenges if it is to make full use of this advantage. This requires investment in education, job creation, economic diversification, and improved infrastructure according to experts. Gabon's young people represent a precious resource, but these require strategic vision and concrete actions to integrate them effectively into the country's development.